Hello, you have found this video because I am talking about SVGs coming out of Illustrator and how you can find that XML code. So a while back, I published a video about adding vector as SVGs to Squarespace. And the hint there is to use the code block. And a viewer asked by chance, do you know how to find the code of a personal design created in Adobe Illustrator? So in this previous video, I showed using Font Awesome and grabbing the SVG code from online. Today, I'm going to answer the question of, yes, I do know how to get it from Illustrator, and I'm going to show you how you can find that code and some creative uses of SVGs you may not have thought of. All right, so if we are in Illustrator and you have a vector design, I'm going to go to a single artboard design, and you can see there is the arrow and the underscore in the background. So I actually have 3 elements and they're grouped. So there are multiple ways to get to SVG code. So the first thing I'm going to show you is when you go to Files, Save As, you're going to get your drop down. So I'm going to go to the desktop, and your drop down for format on a Mac will have Adobe Illustrator, which of course is your native file. It is what I consider the designer's file. So I always want to keep an AI file as my editable file that I go back to and edit. I consider an SVG to be an exported file. That is my share file. That is my image file, right? Okay, so once I've selected that, I can do my name. So we'll say demo. Now you have the option to use artboard. And we often use this when exporting logos from Illustrator. However, if I click artboard and I go to save, I will not be able to use this SVG code option here. If I say cancel and I go to File, Save As, make sure my format is SVG and I do not have use artboards checked, and we'll call it demo, and I go to save, this SVG code option is available to me. Okay, so your SVG profile. Your safe bet is SVG 1.1. Typically, you could just leave everything the way it is. Responsive on and off is going to get rid of your width and height, so you might not want responsive checked. Depending on if you're using a bitmap, you would have it embedded, linked, or preserved. All right, so if I click on SVG code, it is going to pull up from my TextEdit application on a Mac, and it's going to show me a text file that is my XML. Okay, so that is what I could copy and paste. Now, I also can click the browser button. So that is the world icon. So this launches your default browser, which in my case is Chrome. I can see what it looks like, and I could say view page source, and I can see my content SVG. So because this is actually previewing it, just viewing page source is not going to show my file. So let me go back here. So we'll say, okay. Now, the file name is now demo SVG. All right, so alternative ways to see the XML code. I have put the demo SVG, I thought, let me find where I put that. All right, so I can right click or control click on my Mac and say open with, and I have multiple options. So TextEdit is going to let me open it and see that XML generated code, just like from the SVG button when we were saving in Illustrator. We could also pick our favorite coding application. So if you have Visual Studio, you can right click into it and you will be able to see the XML code as well. And another option is that you can open your SVG in a browser. So let's say we say Google Chrome. This time it looks similar to when we click the preview in a browser, but you can see the file name is not a preview HTML, it is a demo SVG. So this time if I say view page source, I will again see the XML. So you can see there are a lot of options for how you can get to that code. And then with that code, you can copy and paste it into the code block in, let's say, Squarespace, or use it inline in any HTML. But if you're trying to see how do I see code from an SVG that I make in Illustrator, that's how. All right, so something that I might suggest is you can search SVG Optimizer, and there are lots of online tools. So let's just say I pick Vecta, and I drop this demo SVG in, and we can see that it can make it 58.7% smaller. So if I download it, and this time I say open with TextEdit, you can see it is a lot smaller, right? It has simplified. It has kind of inlined the styles more. Important, the width and height. So that's the sizing. And then we have the fill and our path fill. So we can see we have this pink color for the rectangle, and then the fill background is white for the shapes on it. You can see that whatever tool you use, this one is actually giving us that Vecta.io URL. Just like on this one, they put in a comment that the generator was Adobe Illustrator. So again, you probably do not need that as well. Okay, so you can always use an optimizer to make it even smaller. So what's a use that you may not have thought of? So one is if you're using Canva, you can upload your file as an SVG. When you do that and you drop your SVG into Canva, it knows how to access your vector file, your SVG that you've uploaded. So right here with my SVG selected, I can change the color. So that makes it really great for use. And you can see it actually grabs the white as well. So I could choose a different color there. So if you want to be able to design in Canva from something you've created in Illustrator or to provide to a client, the SVG is a beautiful file type that has lots of uses. Of course, you can expand it and enlarge it without any pixelation, right? Because it is not a pixel generated image. It is geometric and an XML file. All right, another use you may not have thought of that's especially useful with clients is PowerPoint. So if you have a presentation and you drop in an SVG, again, it is going to allow you to have really crisp rendering, where many times a logo file, once it gets projected, it might look very pixelated, or if it's on a high resolution screen for someone, but your vector image is going to always look crisp. In PowerPoint, so I'm on a Mac, if I go to graphics format and I have my SVG selected, I can click convert to shape. So this allows me to now change the color. So I can go into shape format, and now I could change my color. So again, the beauty of being able to bring in a logo or an icon and make it SVG for PowerPoint would be being able to convert it to the shape and change colors to your heart's content. So another reason why you should really know how to get those SVGs out of Illustrator. All right, so if you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments. If you have other questions or videos that you think might be helpful for you or for others, please make suggestions. And if you would like to continue to be pinged when content like this is created and uploaded to Designer to Full Stack, then please subscribe. All right, happy designing.